It is likely that this episode of the Westwood Living Podcast might be interrupted by a phone call because that's what happens when you're with Brian Clinton. This is a man who is busy, who's got a lot of stuff going on. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Happy New Year, Tom.
You too. You too. You know, I'm always going to be thankful for you, and I'm never going to not draw attention to the fact that you were my first sponsor. So every single time that we ever do anything Westwood Living related, I'm going to point that out. So once again, thank you very much.
Well, it's flattering for you to say that, and I appreciate the opportunity you gave me to, be that primary sponsor. So first sponsor, if you will, not primary.
Inaugural.
That's a much better word.
Premier.
Oh, I like Premier.
Premier's good.
Yep.
Premier's good. So we're sitting here in your kitchen, and you're a Westwood guy, but you weren't always a Westwood guy, right? Take us through your background a little bit and how you ended up here.
Well, that's kind of funny you say that. I'm a Hyde Park guy,
That's
as
right.
People around the neighborhood say, because I often reference that my children are from Westwood. I'm from Hyde Park. But no, I'm a full year-round, lifelong, to the end resident here of Westwood, and happy to support it. Had a great time last night taking my daughter over to the Westwood girls basketball game where they beat Norton. Very enjoyable night.
You have something going on right now, which we should just get right to, because, like most things, a little attrition. Some of them may not last the full 10 minutes, but I want them to know about what you've got cooking right now with your line of work.
Thank you, Tom. So next month's edition of Westwood Living, you'll see I'm rolling out this year in 2023 my Westwood nonprofit donation program, whereby anybody who lists with Brian Clinton at Donahue Real Estate in the year of 2023 will have a donation made to the Westwood nonprofit of their choosing in their name. For any property under $750,000, I'll make a $200 donation. Anywhere between $750,000 and $1 million, a $250 donation. And $1 million plus will be a $500 donation to, again, a Westwood nonprofit of their choice in that client's name.
Very cool. What gave you that idea? Pretty creative.
Well, I was looking at another fundraiser someplace else, and it just kind of came to mind. I thought it was great to be able to support Westwood. I mean, here we are, Westwood Living. So it wasn't a stolen idea, but I kind of said, geez, I'd really like to support nonprofits here in Westwood. So
the greatest ideas are emulated. That's how life works. So you ended up as a realtor following a very unique path, but you've used the expertise that you gained in previous jobs to your advantage here. So take me back to your previous jobs and how they sort of paved the road to you becoming a realtor.
Well, I was a journalism major in college, and upon graduation from college, ironically, I also had an affinity for sports and athletics, most mediocre athlete you've ever met. I became a youth worker at a local community center while I was doing some stringer-type work for small newspapers back in 1995, 96. My job as a youth worker actually gave me a segue into politics, which was also kind of a passion of mine at one point in time, public service. And I worked for the late Mayor Tom Menino for approximately 5 years, and I segued into a chief of staff role at Boston City Hall, where I spent about 17 and a half, 18 years, leaving in 2013. And I just met so many people through that career, and I was doing a lot of work in zoning and licensing in the city of Boston at the time. It was just like the perfect storm, and we were moving here to Westwood. I needed to reinvent myself, and voila, Brian Clinton, realtor.
When we talked and I did your business profile, one of the things that stood out to me, a lot of your work is from where you came, right? Hyde Park, Rosendale, that area, and moving people out to the suburbs. So you really take advantage of your history, your relationships. How has that evolved over the years?
It's still going. I mean, obviously I need to, everybody looks at their business plan as we grow in our businesses. I'm certainly trying to grow here in a very challenging market. There's a lot of competition here in Westwood. I'm not afraid of competition. Obviously that kind of goes back to the athletic element. But for example, this Friday I'll be showing a client of mine a property here in Westwood, and he's presently living in West Roxbury. So, it's kind of a natural progression. Also, I had a pretty significant birthday not too long ago,
and both, bro.
So a lot of my friends and peers that I grew up with and spent a lot of time with, in many different roles and capacities through life, their parents are, getting to that point where they're no longer living. So those homes are becoming available in Hyde Park, and they're reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And I'm doing that. In fact, I'm selling my parents' home this month down the street in Norwood. Fortunately, they're still both with me, but they are into independent living, and So it's just a cycle of life that's going on, and obviously contributes to the real estate market.
Well, the first way I met you was through softball because I knew Eve, and I've gotten to know Jess, your wife, and your kids. And take me through a day in the life, because you're more than a realtor. You're a coach. You're a dad. You're probably a taxi driver. You do it all like we all do. But what's a typical day in your life?
Well, it depends on who you ask. I mean, my wife thinks I do nothing. So, no, I'm just teasing. Typical day in my life is, get up, get the kids off to school with, my wife, get them situated, and start thinking about, okay, well, we're going to need to eat at some point today, and there's going to be 57 activities around dinner time. So, I spend most of my time doing work, sometime between like 9:30 and noon. And then generally after we get home at the end of the night. At the end of the night, like for example, tonight we'll end at the Donahue School with basketball, Metro West basketball practice. That will end about 9:15, so we'll be getting home about 9:30. But that's okay. My parents did it for me. I'm happy to do it, and I enjoy it. I might complain a lot about it, but I enjoy it when I'm in the moment.
One of our similarities is that we both like to coach. What do you like about coaching here?
It's better for me to be on the field trying to help than sitting in the stands. There's probably nobody you less like to sit next to in the stands, questioning the coaching, questioning the umping than me. So if I'm going to question the coaching or the umping, it's probably better that I'm coaching. No, I really, in all sincerity, I mean, there's probably some truth to that, but I want to give back some of the things, that I learned and some of the tools that I think can help these kids. I realize not everybody can do it. And I know that I can do it, not just from understanding the sport level, but also the time commitment. It keeps me out of trouble as well.
So I know you coach softball. Do you also coach basketball?
I coach softball and basketball, yes. Girls and boys.
What do you like better?
I think I like coaching. They're both challenging. I think I like softball a little bit better. Because I only started coaching girls basketball last year in 6th grade. And one of the things, it's a very humbling experience because having never done it prior, you don't know what you don't know, if that makes any sense. So I'm kind of learning with them and trying to get the best out of them, and just kind of realizing you always need to keep going back to the fundamentals. It took a while to realize that, but I'm definitely realizing that at the turn of 2023.
But I'm a little bit ahead of you because my girls are a little bit older than you. But it's been fun for me, I'm sure fun for you, to see the evolution of the softball community. And, the high school team didn't win a game a few years ago. And now you've got this crop of talent that's been cultivated here that's coming up. And it's been fun to watch. And you have that little small window where your kids are a part of it. And all you want is for them to be competitive and have some fun. So what have you enjoyed about that evolution of you can see them getting better?
Well, it's funny. I think the program growing is really improving the talent. I mean, certainly some of these girls, we all know some of them are more naturally athletic than the other ones. It's kind of visibly, on the field, but you notice it on the field. But we've added so many more elements and layers into the Westwood program. For example, I'll be taking Olivia this afternoon. You say a day in the life of Brian Clinton. She'll be going to 5-tool down in West Roxbury to start, Dedham to start practicing today. And then follow that, she has a basketball practice. And it's great to see some girls struggling with the decision between, do I play lacrosse or do I play softball? I mean, when I first came here to Westwood, nobody was choosing softball, and the program is growing. My wife is involved intimately in the program as well as the vice president. And, all through the holiday season, we had the early sign-ups, and she was saying we need to get more sign-ups this year before than we had last year. Year over year is big to her. They made their goal. So, and it's just fun to see all the girls, the hockey players that play softball. And I walk around town, it's crazy. People are like, how do you know that girl? I'm like, because she plays softball. She was on my team, or she was on the other team, So, you see these kids across, even if they don't go to the school with your children. But it's fun.
Wrap it up this way. Give me your thoughts on just the real estate market as it exists entering 2023. What are your biggest issues, and what should people know about?
Biggest issues, interest rates right now. I think today you're looking at something just under, somewhere between 6.5% to 7%, obviously depending upon your credit. I mean, how much money you have to put down, that will obviously be a factor. But inventory is still low. People are afraid to sell because there are still similar problems that there were post-COVID, afraid to sell because they're afraid they won't find something that they're looking for. I mean, those are the biggest stumbling blocks right now, interest rates and supply.
What sort of advice do you give somebody, whether it be a buyer or a seller?
don't get discouraged. That's the first thing I say. It's people think it's going to happen like that overnight, just in the click of the snap of a finger. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5 months. You just have to be committed to your search, and you have to find the time to get out there and look at inventory. Don't just settle.
How do people find you? How do they get in touch with you?
Many ways to find me. Brian Clinton re.com. That's my website. You can find me. My telephone number is 617-828-3035.
And it didn't ring, surprisingly.
That it didn't. I'm also, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, Brian Clinton, Clinton.
Good stuff. Well, thank you for your friendship, for your support, and we're just getting started. So good luck with everything.
Likewise, Tom. Thank you very much.
Good stuff.